Hello guys, today I would tell you about the interesting story of Ben 10 the Absolute Void, so watch till the end. The distress signal blared through the plumber's comm system. Red lights flashed, casting an urgent glow on Ben's face. He gripped the arms of his chair, a knot of dread twisting in his gut. It was from Galvan Prime, home of the smartest beings in 5 galaxies, and Azimuth, creator of the Omnitrix.
Azimuth never calls. Something's terribly wrong.
Kevin, ever the stoic, simply grunted and punched the coordinates into their ship's navigation system.
Hold on.
The ship lurched, jumping to hyperspace. Ben stared out at the swirling vortex of colors, his mind racing. Azimuth, the grumpy, enigmatic Galvan, was like a mentor to him. If he was in trouble, it had to be something big, something that could threaten the entire universe. The gleaming metal halls of Azimuth's lab were eerily silent. Tools lay scattered on workbenches, sparks still sputtering from a dropped welding torch. A sense of wrongness permeated the air, making the hairs on Ben's arms stand on end.
Azimuth!
Gwen called out, her voice echoing in the unsettling quiet. They rounded a corner, and the sight that greeted them made Ben's blood run cold. Azimuth, his frail Galvan form slumped over his workbench, his eyes lifeless. And standing over him, a triumphant smirk on his face, was Albedo.
You!
Ben roared, his hand already slamming down on the Omnitrix dial. Albedo laughed, a chilling sound that echoed in the silent lab.
Surprised to see me, Tennyson? Did you really think you'd seen the last of me?
What have you done?
Gwen demanded, her eyes blazing with anger. Mana crackled around her hands, a storm brewing.
I merely did what I had to. The old fool was too stubborn to see reason. He created the Omnitrix for a far grander purpose than you could ever imagine.
What are you talking about?
The Omnitrix is the key to unlocking the ultimate power, the force that binds the very fabric of the multiverse, the absolute void.
Kevin, ever observant, noticed a faint blue glow emanating from beneath Azimuth's clenched fist. He carefully pried open the Galvan's fingers, revealing a small, pulsating crystal.
What's that?
Ben asked, his anger momentarily forgotten as curiosity piqued.
This is a map that Azimuth created, a guide to the absolute void. He knew I would come for him, knew I wouldn't rest until I possessed its power.
Gwen picked up a datapad lying next to Azimuth, its screen still glowing with his final message. Her face paled as she read the words, her voice trembling as she spoke.
Azimuth knew about the void. He believed it held the key to ultimate power, but also ultimate destruction. He created the Omnitrix to protect it, to ensure that no one, not even himself, could control it.
He was wrong. The void's power will be mine, and with it, I will reshape the multiverse in my image.
Albedo activated the crystal, and a swirling vortex of black and white energy erupted from it, tearing a hole in the fabric of reality. With a final, triumphant laugh, he leaped into the swirling abyss.
We have to go after him. If Albedo controls the void, it's game over for everyone.
Gwen and Kevin exchanged a look, a silent understanding passing between them. They had faced countless threats before, stared down cosmic horrors that would make even the bravest cower. But this felt different. This felt final. The journey to the absolute void was like nothing Ben had ever experienced. They hurtled through dimensional rifts, each one a kaleidoscope of impossible colors and disorienting landscapes. They fought off Lovecraftian horrors that lurked in the in-between spaces, their forms shifting and pulsating with an eerie, chaotic energy. Through it all, Ben never wavered. He pushed himself and the Omnitrix to their limits, transforming into alien after alien, each one more powerful than the last. He knew the fate of the multiverse rested on his shoulders.
We're getting close!
Gwen shouted, her voice strained as she struggled to maintain a shield of mana around the ship.
I can feel it pulling us in.
Kevin, his hands white-knuckled on the controls, nodded grimly. They emerged from the final rift into a vast, silent expanse of pure white. In the center, a swirling vortex of black energy pulsed like a beating heart, the absolute void. And standing before it, bathed in its eerie light, was Albedo.
You're too late, Tennyson. The void is mine.
He raised his hands and tendrils of black energy shot out, wrapping around him like a macabre suit of armor. His eyes, once filled with cunning and ambition, now blazed with a cold, alien light.
I am become death, destroyer of worlds.
The battle was unlike anything Ben had ever fought. Albedo, fueled by the void's power, was a force of nature, unleashing blasts of energy that could obliterate entire galaxies. Ben fought with the fury of a cornered animal, transforming into alien after alien, but nothing seemed to work.
It's no use, Tennyson. You cannot defeat me. I am the Void, and the Void is me.
As Albedo prepared to unleash a final, devastating attack, Ben felt a pull towards the swirling vortex of black energy. It whispered to him, promising power beyond his wildest dreams. But it also spoke of sacrifice, of a destiny far greater than himself. He knew what he had to do.
Ben, no!
But it was too late. Ben slammed his fist down on the Omnitrix dial, activating a command he had never used before, a command that Asmuth had warned him about. A blinding flash of light engulfed him, and when it faded, he was gone. The Void, sensing a new presence within it, thrashed wildly. Albedo screamed, his voice filled with terror and disbelief as the power he had so desperately craved began to consume him. Then, with a final ear-splitting crack, the Void imploded, collapsing in on itself until there was nothing left but silence. Gwen and Kevin watched in stunned silence as the dust settled, their hearts heavy with grief and a profound sense of loss. Ben was gone, his sacrifice saving the multiverse from a fate worse than death.
He's really gone, isn't he?
Gwen whispered, tears streaming down her face. Kevin, his gruff exterior crumbling, could only nod, his throat too tight to speak. They returned to Earth, their lives forever changed. The weight of Ben's sacrifice pressed down on them, a constant reminder of the hero they had lost. But even in their grief, Gwen and Kevin knew they couldn't give up. Ben wouldn't have wanted that. He had given his life to protect the multiverse, and they would honor his sacrifice by continuing his legacy.
We have to keep fighting, for Ben.
Yeah, for Ben.
They dedicated their lives to protecting the innocent, using their powers to fight for those who couldn't fight for themselves. They became the guardians of Ben's memory, ensuring that his sacrifice would never be forgotten. And though Ben was gone, they could feel his presence with them, a guiding hand on their shoulders, a reminder that even in the darkest of times there is always hope. The hope that burns brightest in the face of despair, the hope that Ben Tennyson, the boy who had saved the universe time and time again, had embodied until his dying breath.